Hi everyone, my name's Daryl. So I recently did a review of 2023 plug-in hybrid SUVs. And today I'm going to review number 5 on my list, which is the Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe. So Jeep sells more plug-in hybrid vehicles than any other auto manufacturer in the United States. Actually, their number 1 bestseller is the Jeep Wrangler 4xe, which I'll be reviewing a little bit later. A special thanks goes to Chapman Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram for allowing me to test drive and review this vehicle. They are located on Boulder Highway here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and is the number 1 Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram store in Nevada for the last 3 years. The Jeep Grand Cherokee has always been one of the best-selling SUVs, with its rugged off-road capabilities and towing capabilities, which sets it apart from any other SUV out there. In its lower trims, the Jeep Grand Cherokee can compete with models like the Ford Explorer and the Honda Pilot, and at its upper trims, it can compete with luxury players like BMW and Mercedes. But the Jeep Grand Cherokee is the only vehicle that can actually tow, can go off-road, has luxury, and also has a plug. The all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee is built on the Alfa Romeo Giorgio platform, which shares its underpinnings with its big brother, the Jeep Grand Cherokee L. But you will see that it's much more boxy in appearance than previously, which can enhance outward visibility as well as cargo space. So the Jeep Grand Cherokee is powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. It actually has 2 electric motors and a 17.3 kilowatt-hour battery. Just with the engine alone, the Grand Cherokee makes 270 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. But with the electric motors, that output goes up to 375 horsepower and an amazing 470 pound-feet of torque. What you should know about the 4xe is the electric components don't compromise the drivetrain, as it uses basically the same 4-wheel drive system as the gas-powered models. The Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe has best-in-class towing capabilities with a max towing capacity of 6,000 pounds. When getting the towing package, you actually get a rear self-leveling suspension, and behind this plastic cover you get a hitch, a 4-pin and 7-pin plug. Since the 4xe does have a relatively large battery, I do wish, like on the RAV4 Prime, they would make an inverter that allows you to have a plug in the back of the 4xe that would allow you to use the electricity for off-grid camping or for powering a small trailer. The Jeep Grand Cherokee, it doesn't get great gas mileage. You get 24 miles per gallon combined in hybrid mode, and you get 26 miles of EV range. But this is the only plug-in hybrid that has the off-road capability and also has towing, and it has a plug. And so if you can plug in daily, you're really going to cut down the gas mileage on your commute. And so if off-roading or if towing are important to you, the Jeep Grand Cherokee just might be the vehicle for you. The one thing that you should know about the Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe, as well as the Wrangler 4xe, is the way it calculates gas mileage is very strange. In my RAV4 Prime, for instance, when I look at the gas miles per hour and it gives me a rating, it takes the EV driving that I've been doing into account. So if I spend most of my time on EV, it's gonna say I'm doing somewhere around 100 miles per gallon or some crazy number. But Jeep doesn't do that. So they assume there's some sort of cost associated with charging your vehicle at home. When you're in EV driving, they don't take that or factor that into account into overall gas mileage. And so if you look at the gas mileage on your Grand Cherokee, it'll often be very much lower than what the actual gas mileage is. And it does this even in hybrid mode. So if you're purely driving in hybrid mode, and let's say you never charge it, but you are regenerating energy based on braking or downhill driving, it also won't take this into effect. And that's different than any other plug-in hybrid available out there. So owners of the Grand Cherokee, they really need to take this into account when they're looking at their trip odometer and what kind of gas mileage they got. So let's go ahead and check out the interior. The Grand Cherokee is a lot different than other similar vehicles in that they have a very low trim level and they go to a very top level of trim. You have to be careful when you're looking at reviews and they say the Grand Cherokee has just an awesome cabin, because if you go look at a base model, it might not be quite as nice as the very high-end models. But for the most part, you know, everything in the Grand Cherokee, it just feels a little more premium than in my RAV4 Prime, for instance. A lot of the materials on the doors and the armrest, for instance, just seem a lot premiumer and and a lot softer. So both the driver's seat and the passenger seat on the Jeep Grand Cherokee come with 8 levels of seat positioning control, as well as 4 levels of lumbar support. You have 2-way position memory on the seats as well. So multiple screens come on the Jeep Grand Cherokee. So we have this really beautiful digital instrument cluster right here, which is very configurable. Then you have this multimedia display right here. And you also have an LCD passenger screen, which has an HDMI input so that your passengers can kind of watch a show as you're driving. Over on the left-hand side, just below the steering wheel, you have your different electronic drive modes. And so you have hybrid, which is kind of self-explanatory. You have electric mode, which will be truly EV mode. Now, depending on your throttle position, it will engage the gas engine. So you only have about 134 horsepower or so from the electric engines. If you do kind of accelerate quickly, it's going to engage that gas engine. And if you are easy on the throttle, you'll be using basically EV mode. And there's another mode called the e-save mode, which is this one right here. And in e-save mode, it'll save the battery. So it basically won't use the battery at all as you're driving. Also in this mode, you can configure how it reacts. And so basically I go to vehicle and then I go to e-hybrid, and on e-save, I can either have it save the battery, so it'll basically keep the battery about the same level, or you can actually charge the battery if you choose to. So we can switch that to battery charge. And now it will actually charge up the battery, and you'll actually hear the engine turn on as it starts charging up that battery. So the other button that's kind of important, this regenerative braking button, which is basically above the multimedia display, and you can turn it either on or you can turn it off. And this won't necessarily give you fully one pedal driving, but it'll give it pretty close to it, and it'll also increase the amount of energy that's going back into your battery. So one of the things that I really like about the new Jeep Grand Cherokee is its boxy profile. And so basically with that, you get kind of much taller windows, and you also get much more headroom. I'm 5'11", and this actually has a panoramic moonroof, and so usually that means that you're going to sacrifice a lot of headroom, but I have plenty of headroom in here. And as I'm looking out the windows, these windows are so nice and large. Even that third window is large, and you can see so much out of it. And so I really appreciate this about the Grand Cherokee. All right, so I'm in the second row seat of the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Very comfortable back here. So the chairs do have a recline mechanism, so it can go up and then all the way back, which is really comfortable. Once again, I have quite a bit of headrest, so I'm 5'11". I have at least 3 inches, 4 inches right here. And once again, this is the panoramic moonroof. Very comfortable back here. It's got 4-way dual zone climate controls, and it also has 4 USB plugs back here, as well as 115 volt AC adapter, so you can plug in your devices back here. I do also have plenty of leg room back here, so you can see I have, well, heck, I have at least 6, 7, 8 inches back here, which is really nice. So looking at the cargo area on the Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe, you can see it's really spacious back here, once again because of its boxy exterior. And you actually do have, amazingly, almost a full-size spare in the 4xe, which is really unheard of in plug-in hybrid vehicles. The seats do drop down, and let's see if they are relatively flat. That they are relatively flat, and so you really get a great cargo area on the 4xe with really plenty of headroom. So it's super nice back here. And once again, because they actually put the batteries underneath the front and passenger seat, and so that's what really gives you all of this space and the ability for them to put the tire underneath the cargo floor. All right, so let's go ahead and take a test drive on the 4xe. So we're gonna start off in EV mode, and just to see, you know, how it feels when that gas engine really engages depending on the throttle application. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch it to electric mode. And so all the engines should turn off, and they do. And I'm just gonna do some driving around town with it. And we'll also try to get it on the highway as well. Plenty of torque. You know, that's the one thing that's nice about the electric motors, is that, you know, you don't have a terribly amount of horsepower. I think it's 134 horsepower. But the amount of torque that you have is somewhere around 191, I think. So yeah, you still get a decent amount of pickup. So it's still only in electric mode, hasn't engaged the gas engine at all there. And I gave it a little bit of throttle, no problem. So I do have this power flow mode, and so it shows me where the power is coming from. So right now it's all coming from the battery. And yeah, I'm surprised, 134 horsepower and 190 pound-feet of torque, and it feels really, really comfortable. I guess I would like Jeep to have perhaps maybe a little more horsepower, but this isn't bad at all. All right, so I'm going 45 miles an hour. If I hit the accelerator and I floor it, yeah, you'll then have that engine kick in. So I'm now merging onto the freeway, and I'm still in EV mode and accelerating pretty quickly. Still no gas engine. I'm wondering how fast I have to go before that gas engine starts to engage. So I'm at 65, still on battery, 70, still on battery, 75. I'm assuming right around 80 or so is when it would use the gasoline engine. But yeah, very comfortable highway speeds just on battery. And the one thing I will say is the very quiet in the cabin. So you can hear, yeah, it's really quiet in here. The suspension is really comfortable. So this would be a great highway cruiser. I got about half throttle, still on battery, full throttle, and the gas engine kicks in. And yeah, so it's kind of interesting when that gas engine kicks in, you really feel a boost. You know, you have boost, right? So you have a turbocharger, and so you really feel it when you hit on the accelerator. It's kind of fun, where you get the combination of the gasoline engine plus the turbos that kick in. That's really nice. Yeah, so I will say one thing that it seems like it's quite a bit different between my RAV4 Prime and this is when I do have it in hybrid mode, it does seem to want to use the battery and the electric motors. So in my RAV4 Prime, it kind of defaults to the engine as opposed to using the battery when I'm in hybrid mode, and it kind of conserves that battery, whereas in this car, it kind of wants to use up the battery, and then you're going to be kind of left just with the engine. So yeah, I don't know, I would probably have to spend a lot of time driving it on trips and stuff like that, but you would actually maybe want to just put it in e-save mode just to save some of that battery. If you're taking long trips, let's say you want to save it for like a hill or something like that. Yeah, so I am going uphill little grade right now, and so I do feel that the engine kicked in, but I really didn't hear it. I just kind of felt like a little bit of boost. So that transition between the hybrid and electric motors and the engine was really smooth, felt really nice. So I do want to do like a little bit of a passing maneuver. So right now we're at 67 miles an hour. So let me go ahead and floor it. Passing maneuvers are really handled well with this combination of engine and the electric motors. So I will say that the cabin noise is really well controlled in this vehicle, and I think it's even better compared to the gas-only model, and that's probably because basically the batteries underneath the driver and the passenger seat, it better controls the amount of noise that's entering the cabin. Now I'm only going to have this for one day, and so I really don't have enough time to do a mile per gallon calculation, but Alex on Autos, he had it for a week, and basically for a whole week of driving, and he never charged it, he averaged 25 miles per gallon. And on his odometer, it actually said he was getting 19 miles per gallon. And this just goes back to what I had said about the computer, the onboard computer, how it calculates. So sometimes it really does owners a disservice because they really don't think they're getting the gas mileage that they actually are. Yeah, so acceleration was really good in hybrid mode. There are multiple drive modes, however, though. So let's look at those. Then you can select those with the drive mode selector. So if we want to do some rock climbing, sand, snow, auto, and sport, and we actually didn't try out sport, so we're going to give that a shot just to see the differences in acceleration. On my previous video, I talked about the acceleration of the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I think I said 5.9 seconds maybe, but a number of outlets had actually got 5.2 seconds, 0 to 60, just by torque braking the engine, and so it definitely does better than what I originally had said. And the passing acceleration, like from 30 to 50, is 3.4 seconds, and 50 to 70 miles per hour is 4.3 seconds. So yeah, it does really good, basically when accelerating and when trying to pass cars. And we're going to give that a shot in sport mode as opposed to just a regular mode, just to see what it feels like. All right, so we have turned on sport mode, and so I'm going to see what that feels like. Do a quick acceleration here. Yeah, boy, oh boy, that is That is pretty fast. So I would imagine it would probably engage the gas engine a little bit more in sport mode than in regular mode. We are in hybrid mode. Let me punch the accelerator. Yeah, and so you see, it really is punchy. In sport mode, it's really, really nice. So in regards to suspension, I will say this is pretty soft and it's kind of heavy. So you really feel the extra weight of the batteries, and it's really similar in my RAV4 Prime. But this really is nice for a cruiser. Really where the Jeep Grand Cherokee is outstanding is in regards to its ability to handle being off-road. And you're gonna really feel how much different and how much more comfortable this one is going down, you know, kind of gravel roads and roads with big potholes that you really want to take any sort of other luxury vehicle. So overall, I'm really impressed with the Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe. To tell you the truth, since we tow all the time and travel so much, I might actually prefer this to our RAV4 Prime. Once again, a big thank you to Chapman Dodge of Las Vegas for letting me review this vehicle and take it for a test drive. I'm going to be reviewing lots of other plug-in hybrids coming up, so make sure that you subscribe to my channel, and also if you enjoyed this video, please like it, and I hope to see you in the next one again very soon.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back.